Love a bit of technology that doesn't work. All right.
The New York Artists Collective podcast. This next one's about.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the New York Artists Collective podcast. My name is Stephanie Manns. I am a singer-songwriter and co-producer of the New York Artists Collective. I hope you are all staying safe and well during this pandemic, and of course, protesting and standing up for Black Lives Matter wherever you can. I want to reiterate that the New York Artists Collective fosters an inclusive space, so intolerism, hate, and racism do not have a home here. Where am I? I'm sorry, excuse me. I'm deeply saddened as well, of course, by the events and the lives that have been lost at the hands of so many police officers and systemic racism in this country. But I am very encouraged by the change that we are beginning to see. On a personal level, please know that I'm not silent about this issue, and I'm actively doing my own work to educate myself and having some very hard conversations at home and beyond on Facebook as well. I am very conscious of being a white woman, and I don't want to take up space in this conversation, so rather offer space to our POC artist community. So next week, to that effort, we will be doing a Facebook Live show featuring our POC artists within our New York Artists Collective community. And I'm very excited that our own New York Artists Collective alum artist, Mishti Roy, will be joining to host the show. And I'm excited because I will be taking a backseat and producing. So please look out for that. And please know that also going forward, we are making a commitment to make sure that we have a much more diverse lineup of artists on the show. Now, tonight's guest is an old friend of mine. We met at a gig in Glasgow where she was touring, and I was so impressed by her musical talents, and I know you will be too. Let's introduce Sonia Leigh. Sonia.
Hey, what's happening?
How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I'm good. How is Nashville?
You know what? Today I did my first co-write back on Music Row after all of this, and it was really good to see. I haven't been down there in a little bit, so it was really good to see my spot and see people out and about. And then on the way back, I live in East Nashville, and on the other side of the bridge from where downtown is in Music Row, and there was actual traffic. So I was in my very first set of traffic today on my way home, which is, I mean, we can all do without that, can't we?
Yeah, of course. It's weird. Like, I live in New York and I'm not seeing anyone.
Is it still quiet there?
It is still quiet. I mean, I think, you go to the park and there can be a lot of people in the park, but I think, one thing that they've noted and reported on is the fact that like about 500,000 New Yorkers have left the city. So It is noticeably quieter. There's a lot less traffic, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, it's like if you're not able to go out and do anything in New York, then it's like, why are you in New York? Like New York is, it's got that buzz about it for a reason. But
I know a couple people who left New York.
Oh, really?
But, anyway.
Yeah, I know. These lucky people that have somewhere to go.
You can't go home. You couldn't go back to... Where exactly are you from?
Scotland. So
okay.
I would say Glasgow, though
Okay,
I don't have
cool.
the accent.
You don't? Interesting.
No.
I would have thought you were British.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. As long as no one says I'm English, we're okay.
Okay.
So Sonia, you've been around in the music industry and in Nashville for how long now?
A little over 8 years at this point.
8 years. And you moved from, was it Atlanta?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. But your sort of history is incredibly impressive. I think, obviously I met you at that show years ago, and, I looked you up and everything, and I know that you were on Zac Brown's Southern Ground Records, and I'd seen that you cut a song with him, but then, like, you have been on tour with Willie Nelson, you've been on tour with Joan Jett, Melissa Etheridge, it's, Loretta Lynn. I mean, like, I was sort of falling over the names that get dropped there. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I would have, if right now stop playing music, which I'll never stop playing music, but I'm really thankful and just kind of pretty blessed that I've gotten to do the things that I've gotten to do. It's kind of sometimes unbelievable. Just from where I came from, where I started. This is my first podcast, by the way, just so you know. Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm excited. Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you for joining us. So what have you been up to? I mean, I think so prior to the pandemic, obviously Nashville was hit by a tornado in East Nashville, which is roughly where you are. I'm not sure if it sort of hit you or if you, I mean, you seem to be in a very nice studio right now, so I'm hoping that you weren't hit.
Oh, this is my little studio in my house, and I was
Mm-hmm.
actually touring in England, in London, in the whole country. I was supposed to be touring the whole month of March with Joan Taylor, and we got about halfway through.
I love her. She's great.
She's awesome, man. We were on a bus. It was my first time being on a tour bus in England. I've slummed it for like so many years over there, and thank God for my friends there have driven me around and let me sleep on their couches and stuff. This is the first time that I was on like a tour bus. We were so excited, and then this happened. But while I was on tour over there before this hit, the tornado came, and I wasn't here for it, but I just had to see from afar all the damage and destruction, and really literally just barely missed my house. So, you know,
Right. Yeah.
very, very blessed and thankful it skipped us.
So did Nashville have to kind of deal with the cleanup of the tornado plus the pandemic
Yeah, I mean, the
as well,
destruction
and the
that it
shutdown of Broadway?
yeah, I mean it's nuts, and then all the recent events. So there's been a lot of hits to this area. As far as like being shut down and destruction and things like that.
Yeah. And how is the writing community or the Nashville sort of artist community coping with all of this? How are you guys connecting, writing, creating music? People are still releasing music, which I'm finding. I mean, I think after maybe a few weeks, I think I kind of feel like people were like, if this is going to go on forever, we might as well embrace it and, you know,
Yeah.
use it and pivot and, release music and do what we can here.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of artists probably had, I mean, a back catalog. I released something that I wrote probably about 3 years ago, a song that I really loved that I'd always wanted to release, but just said, why not? And I think a lot of artists actually had some back catalog that they were probably excited to get out, and then some people were writing new material because they're inspired by, the time. So I definitely think that it's inspired people to just stop thinking too much and about strategy on release, because at that point it just doesn't matter. A lot of people are co-writing via Zoom, and just connecting in that way as well.
Yeah, you said you had your first co-write today. Was that in person or via Zoom?
This was my first in-person
In
co-write,
person.
minus like what I've been doing. My roommate and I have been writing here, and my girlfriend and I in Asheville have been doing some songs together, and I've been working on my engineering skills and things like that. So
Yeah, it's a time to learn things. I'm finding this whole pandemic.
yeah, I've been more relaxed about what I'm writing and kind of having fun with it, because for me, a lot of stuff that my roommate and I've been writing was just like really kind of comedy slash, just nothing to do with what's been going on, just something kind of an escape and to have a laugh, to not take yourself so seriously and
Yeah.
just kind of get out of your head.
Is that something that in terms of trying to take some positives away from this time, is that something that you will certainly consider and take away?
Absolutely. I think that
Yeah.
my approach to songwriting has really gone back to where it began, which kind of was less in my head. Once you get into a co-writing cycle, especially in Nashville, there's always kind of an aim and a ulterior motive with a lot of writing in Nashville, because they're looking for cuts or syncs and things like that.
Yep.
When I started writing, I mean, I still write from myself and from that vein, but what I mean is, I guess, just more of a relaxed, less pressured, like, oh, if I don't write something that's syncable, or, just writing, just for sure, like
Just for the pleasure
being
and not.
silly sometimes.
Yeah. That's interesting. So I think like at the moment has there been any kind of communication from labels about what kind of songs they want to hear or they want people to kind of be putting out, or is it just, you're kind of giving them what comes out more naturally? Because often I
Well,
feel like there's sort of a real direction as to like, how music, how radio friendly something is.
right. Um, I'm not really sure about artistically because I'm an independent artist, but I am a songwriter for BMG,
Yep.
and I did a sync camp with them. So I've done rights, but virtual rights, and I did a sync camp for BMG recently, and basically the briefs that they were saying was used to be like come together everybody, and they're like none of that. Like nobody can come together right now. We don't really need to talk about that. So it was less about that and more about overcoming and uplifting vibes and things like that, so that was something I saw, the difference in.
Should re-release a Sonia Leigh classic when we are alone.
That's a
That would
good
be very
idea. I
timely.
didn't think about that. Oh, good one.
There you go. I'll take 2%. Thank you very much.
There you
I'm
go.
just kidding. So let's talk about Mad Hatter. So your latest album.
Yeah, that was my last full length record. I basically was trying to really learn how to engineer, and I kind of stumbled upon co-producing that. I say co-producing because I started a lot of those tracks, and those original tracks we kept in that process of writing that record. And so, I mean, for me, it's an expression that I got to really kind of be a very big part of the sound, and I got to kind of get weird, and step outside of the country music, persona that I kind of built through the Zac Brown days,
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I could definitely hear that. It's a really interesting album, and I think when we were just chatting backstage, as we do in podcast land, you were saying that you had produced and sort of come up with these sounds, and I was like, wow. And because there's a couple of them that like there's a bass to it that is kind of country, and then you kind of give it a twist, and I really like that idea. I think there was one that was sort of almost a two-step, where I could see like you could almost kind of line dance to it, but then you sort of made it almost like a rap song.
Was that Mind on the Prize? Or that's
I think it
Or-
was. Yeah, it was Mind on the Prize.
yeah. I actually did not come up with that track. That was my boy Frank Romano, and Cena, and there's another guy who's awesome.
There's a
I am the
Don't worry.
worst at this. But yeah, so they came up with the track, and I was over at Frank's house because I co-wrote Shelter with him as well, and he did that track. We actually, I played on that, and we were writing that together. But we've done a lot of writing. He was actually working on that track while I was hanging out, and I was like, I really like that. And I just kind of wrote a rap, and then I begged him to talk to those guys and see if I could use it.
I think that's, the kind of rap side to it in terms of country music. I mean, that must be something that sort of sets you apart. I certainly don't see that very much, and I find it really interesting.
Well, that particular record was kind of my release all the chains and the pressures of sticking to a genre. I wanted to take all the rules off of what a per se record should follow and show a little diversity. So I didn't really care if it fit together, which is a big no-no, but I was like, I just want to say what I want to say.
It's great that you as an independent artist, when you can do that.
Yeah,
I certainly think when you're
yeah.
No, I was going to say, when you're trying to kind of, break in or make your mark or whatever, and you're like, oh, I need to sort of follow this model, and I need to look like this. And then after a while, you're like, I don't like following that model, and I don't like looking like that. And it's far more authentic when you are yourself.
Yeah, just to keep growing as a writer and artist, it keeps me inspired and interested in, I can't write the same things over and over. We grow emotionally, and I write, emotionally. So as we go through things, or myself go through things, I'm growing as what direction I want to go in, and I like to try out different things, and some I'm good at, some I'm not, but I like to try,
God loves a try. So Sonia, you're going to sing us a song this evening.
Yeah.
So what would you like to sing?
I don't know. I was gonna sing like my last single, "Give You Love," but you're a fan of Mad Hatter, so if there's anything particular that you want to hear off that record, I'm happy to do that as well.
Oh. How about Dead Man's Sunrise?
Woo. Okay.
Is that,
I haven't played
is that
one
not
in a
an
while.
easy guitar?
No,
one?
no, that's good. That's good. Let's see if I can. I literally haven't
Okay.
played that in a while, so this is
So tell me the story behind it.
um to be honest, I was in a really, really bad place, and I was at a friend of mine, my keyboard player and bass player's house, and it was like Memorial Day or something, and I just was sitting outside and writing by myself, and this song kind of came out. And it's really about kind of surviving that dark night, you know, feeling like, you know, if you want to talk about mental health, you know, like we've all been to that dark place where we don't really know. And that's, you know, honestly where that song came from, that dark of a place. But nobody's ever really asked me about that. And to be honest, I feel like I've always been ashamed to admit about that time, but in light of everything, like we've all been there. So, you know, it's important to acknowledge those things, and how you can, there's a light on the other side, you know, there's another life, you know, waiting. Just hang on, you know.
Yeah,
Okay,
of
so
course. And, you know, it's important that you share these stories and relate to people. You know, everyone's got these stories, and I think as a songwriter, it's important that we connect to ourselves and other people.
yeah, so yeah.
All right. And before you start, if anyone has any questions for Sonia, please write them in the comments box, and I will endeavour to get through them. So Sonia Leigh and Dead Man's Sunrise.
Write it all down, these are my last words. If you don't mind, give a message to her. I'm just about finished with digging this grave. Oh, tell 'em not to cry that I couldn't be saved. I'm gonna meet my maker at the end of the line. I'm ready, yeah, I'm ready now. Feel it in my bones, it's coming my time. I'm ready now. If I make it to the end of the night, I'll be a miracle walking in a dead man's sunrise. I'm ready, yeah, I'm ready now. It's a heavy-handed pour when you're all alone. Yeah, when you hit rock bottom, you drink till it's gone. Yeah, there ain't no bottom that I have found low enough to keep this ghost in the ground. Yeah, I'm gonna meet my maker at the end of the line. I'm ready, yeah, I'm ready now. Feel it in my bones, it's coming my time. I'm ready now. If I make it to the end of the night, I'll be a miracle walking in a dead man's sunrise. I'm ready, well, I'm ready now. I'm ready now. I'm ready now.
That was great.
Hey, I'll tell you something
Thank you very
interesting.
much.
Thank you. I'm interested. Why did you pick that song?
It just had something a bit gritty and dark about it that I really liked, and I think it gave me kind of Nick Cave vibes.
Oh, cool. Wow, thank you.
Yeah, it was like, you know, the kind of intro for Peaky Blinders. It sort of gave me that kind of vibe.
Cool. I mean, it's about, just kind of getting haunted by that particular person or whatever, whatever. And that particular song I recorded with Mitch. Why am I keep on pulling these? I can't remember anything. Anyway, his daughter played the
Mitch
fiddle on
someone.
that.
A
I know. I
lovely
don't know what's
gentleman called by the name of Mitch.
Mitch somebody who is a very very well known producer. He produced Jars of Clay and all that. He's gonna hate me
You're on
right now
first
because
name
he's
terms
a really
with
good
him.
friend
His
of
name's
mine.
Mitch.
Y'all don't even know I have the worst memory on the faces, but I'm looking. Oh,
It's all right. We're not
really,
live. Don't worry about it.
really, really easy. Mitch Dane, and I knew that. Mitch Dane, yeah. I look like a twat.
I'm sorry, what was the purpose of that again? So hang on, so Mitch Dane was on this? You wrote this?
He-
I was
he
just so
produced-
amused by, we'd forgotten his name. He produced it, got it.
Yeah, we
Thank you.
co-produced that as a studio here. And the interesting thing was as a live band that I play out with quite a bit, and yeah, that was one of the only live band tracks on that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that and
was
Waste
live,
the Day. Hmm.
I would never have guessed. How do you feel about producing something completely live?
I love it. I did a record at Abbey Road right after I released Mad Hatter. I was on tour over in England for like 3 months with Brooklyn Rebels and Katie Hurt, and at the end of the tour, I was like, "Let's all go to Abbey Road." I booked a 10-hour session, and I basically mixed up all the musicians that I've toured with and over in England, and we cut a live record, which I put out, but I had to take it down due to some management stuff. But I'm gonna re-release it soon.
Good. I look forward to that. Let's talk about the UK for a second. So I think, in fact, no, I take it back. I think that was where we met originally. We both played country to country, I think.
Yeah,
That's
C2C.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also I think Sasha McVeigh had played country to country. So I think that was actually where we all met. now
Yeah,
I
that
think
was my
about it.
first tour was with Sasha McVeigh, who now lives here in Nashville.
Yeah. Yeah. How it all comes full circle.
Crazy. And now you live in New York.
Yeah. And now I live in New York. We'll see for how long that lasts. As everyone's moving out and this whole pandemic just continues. It is so much fun. But let's talk about England for a second. So that was your first tour with Sasha McVeigh following that. So actually that wasn't much. So I think the Country to Country was in March. And I think you were on tour with Sasha in around April, I think.
Yeah, I'd stayed over.
And you've
just
been-
kind of,
And you've been slowly kind of building up that fan base over there. And you actually kind of go over quite a bit.
yeah, it's kind of my secondary home, and I spent a lot of time building the fan base. I did Buckle and Boots and did the Women's Pride Festival.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been a journey, but I have some really, really awesome fans over there and a great family of friends, and so I love it there.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about the UK audience in terms of, because there's a real kind of niche for country music and Americana over there.
Yeah, when I first started going, I felt like it was on the brink of the actual country music movement over there, because C2C, it was the very first C2C. Remember that?
I do.
And yeah, they were just starting to get into the more modern country from what I witnessed. That it was, from what I understood, most of the take on country was more traditional, and as things started to develop with more festivals and they were bringing over more modern country artists, the kind of, and then Chris Country happened, and
Yep.
and that started changing the airways and giving everybody a kind of a way to listen to more modern country, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I think, I mean, for a long time, the only place that you could really listen to country music in the UK was on BBC Radio 2 on Bob Harris's show.
Oh yeah,
And
Bob
then
Harris, yeah.
Bob Harris, yeah.
The great Bob
And
Harris.
the great Bob Harris. That man is a UK treasure.
He is.
And, you know, famously, so many country and Nashville artists say that they owe such a debt to him for getting him to that market, which have been, you know, so crucial to their success and their gig economy.
Lee Williams is another guy who helped me tremendously before all of that. I met him over here, and he set me up with a regional radio tour, and I went to England by myself and rented a car and drove all over that country alone. Never driven there, by the way. Just like rented a car. I mean, I played at little hospitals, like the smallest, tiniest studios, but I feel like that mattered so much to my takeoff because I was going into the rural communities and making friends and connections, and and I was getting to see all parts of the countryside and getting to understand the country more.
Yeah, it's, I mean, you know, touring and driving across the UK, because you can. That's like comparative to the US, it's pretty small.
Yeah.
But we just have so much diversity and change as you kind of like travel around the country. Like there are sort of little different pockets of places, which I find both lovely and amusing at the same time.
Yeah, I learned a bit about the different accents and trying to kind of pinpoint where everybody's from. A little bit.
Can you do any?
Oh, I'm horrible at British. But it comes out when I'm there, and sometimes it comes out when I'm talking only because I've spent so much time there and I've dated 2 people there, so a lot of phone conversations. So, you know, you're around anything long enough, you're going to pick it up. Have you picked up any kind of American or New York accent? Is it thinned out a bit for you?
Apparently when I go home, people say I've, you know, Americanized a little bit. I think it's more just to be understood. I might, you know, deaden some of my T's. You know, I've gone into, you know, to bars and I've said, can I have a Tito's and tonic or a Tito's and something? And people just look at me and they're like, you want a what? And I'm like, Tito's. They're like, oh, you want a Tito's? I'm like, okay, fine, I'll have Tito's.
I noticed that you have kind of almost like you sound more kind of like a proper educated American lady.
Well, thank you very much.
Like not but what would they say? Posh. I would say posh in England. Like, yeah.
I'll take that. You know, it's surprising what I can get away with an accent over here.
Oh yeah, you can get away with murder with that accent.
And same for you in the UK.
Same,
People love a southern accent.
It gets me everywhere. Yeah.
Exactly, it's wonderful. So Melanie is asking, when will Sonia Leigh start doing shows again? Do we know when Broadway's going to open up, or do we know if Sonia Leigh
Broadway's open back up now?
Doing some online shows?
Yeah, Broadway's open back up. I'm really kind of taking my time getting my foot back into it. But yeah, very soon I'm gonna be back out. So I honestly am still kind of leery of the COVID. I'm still kind of just watching to see what happens once everybody gets back to it, to see if it's really safe, you know.
Yeah. I mean, given what musicians do for a living, I mean, you make a living in crowds of people. Mm-hmm. And us not being able to do that, and the fact that, you know, it's our livelihoods are based around that. It's crushing to kind of see how it's just had to just turn off completely. And then it's not turning back on instantly.
Yeah.
It's so
and then
gradual.
The market's flooded, I bet. Like everybody's going to be trying to get back on stage. And sorry, I interrupted you.
No, not at all. Please.
Well, it's also a bit maddening too, because part of like that release for me as an artist is the performance. That people have asked me in the past, what are you writing or performing, and they go hand in hand for me of my creative process. Performing gets something out of me that is like, you know, that has been kind of pulled back. But I've done some, you know, online shows and things, so it's just a bit different than hearing a crowd scream. And I did something here that was like a drive-in show at this place called Daddy's Dogs, which was really cool. So that was nice. But a bunch of cars, you know, they were honking and stuff, you know.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah, super fun.
And how have you found, I mean, I know that you said you haven't done too many online shows, but how have you found the ones that you have done in terms of, because, so, I mean, I've done a couple, and
Yeah.
it's, don't get me wrong, it's fun to do, and you kind of get this sort of audience interaction in a way, but there's such a delay going on with it. And you're kind of playing your songs, and and I've done this sort of awkward thing where I'm like, yay, thank you very much. Like I've sort of had to make up my own applause because it just feels so awkward just finishing.
Yeah, it's
you know?
Yeah,
Exactly.
it is awkward.
So what's sort of next on the cards for you? So I think you said, you know, you've got some back catalogue that you might release, you might re-release some Sonia Leigh classics.
Yeah, I'm working on a project that I've been working on for about 5 years, and I'm excited about taking the time to really craft. That'll be announced pretty soon. And yeah, I think I'm going to do a Patreon and just start I've written so much music over the past years here in Nashville that are just still sitting, you know, on the shelf that I just want to put out. I think my fans really, I'm so lucky that my fans really, they follow my journey as a creative and all the growth and all the different directions, and they're really supportive on that diversity.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to just share it all.
That's great. I mean, I can see how wonderfully involved and interactive your fans are right now on the chat, and I have no doubt that they would be super excited for a Patreon.
Where is that chat? Am I allowed to see that, or is it just
Yeah, there's a comments button on the right-hand side somewhere. You can see that, I think. Possibly.
Live comments. I'm in the private
There you
chat.
go.
Oh, there it is. Oh my gosh. There's like people
See?
here.
All these comments. Yeah. Everyone's saying we love Sonia Leigh.
What's up, guys? Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Awesome. My girlfriend just tuned in. Cool. Hey, babe.
I thought that was possibly the comment that I put up that was like, "Hey babe, love you" or something like that. I thought that might have been because your face lit up. It was really cute. So Sonia, before we finish up, would you do me the honor of playing me another song? Why not? We have some time.
Sure. All right.
I have put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
No. I'll play my last single. I've got a new single called King Without a Kingdom, but I'm gonna play the single before that called Give You Love.
All right.
It could be so beautiful, you and I, like a miracle. Can't you see, if you just let go, how good it could be? If you take my hand, we can look 'em in the eye. Yeah, I know you're scared, I'm right here standing by your side. And it'll be alright. I only wanna give you love. I only wanna give you love. I only wanna give you love. Yeah. I only wanna give you love. Only wanna give you love. I only wanna give you love. Maybe it's time for you to give in to the cold hard truth. There's no stopping this feeling. We keep running, baby, it's no use. But if you open up your heart, let it all pour out. I'll wrap you up in stars if it all falls apart and the sky hits the ground. I'm never gonna let you down. I only wanna give you love. I only wanna give you love. I only wanna give you love. to, before we do go.
Yay! Crowd goes wild! Crowd goes wild!
Hey, Mary Lou, what's up? Sue Tingle, Gloria, Cole, Jason, Jenny, and Cobb. What's up, everybody? I just really want to say how important it is. Music Health Alliance and Music Cares have been such a major role in musicians' journey through all of this, and I can't leave this without giving them a shout out and a big thank you, because a lot of people and musicians have gotten through this epidemic with their help. So.
Yep. Very worthwhile cause if you're considering trying to support musicians globally right now, is obviously support their Patreons, donate to Music Cares. There are multiple places that you can go to support musicians. And Music Cares is so overwhelmed right now by the amount of people that are, seeking help from them. So please do give if you can. Sonia, this has been so much fun.
Yeah. Next time I come
really
to New York,
this.
lunch on me.
Damn right. And, pandemic notwithstanding, we can do it with bandanas. It'll be fine.
Right.
All good.
Cool. Thank you.
Listen,
so
Sonia,
much.
thank you. Thank you for playing 2 songs. I'm so, that's wonderful. I never normally get 2 songs, but I'm never cheeky enough to ask. So thank you for putting up with me. I really appreciate it. It's been so great to see you. Everyone can follow you, and I'm sure they already do, because they are clearly your biggest fans. I'm watching all of these comments come in at Sonia Leigh, and facebook.com/Sonia Leigh Music. But Sonia, I know that you've got some new music coming out soon. Your latest single, King Without a Kingdom, is on Spotify right now. And I really look forward to seeing you get back on the road and seeing what you have planned for the rest of the year.
Yeah, let's link up and co-write something.
We will. Okay, thank you, Sonia. Listen, everyone, thank you so much for joining. I've really appreciated seeing all of your comments. It's been so lovely to interact with you guys, and I'm sure Sonia loved seeing your post pop up on the screen. Thank you again for joining us on This Next One's About. And next week is a very special show featuring a number of guests, and will be hosted by a wonderful artist and friend of mine. Her name is Mishti Roy, to introduce some amazing people of color and New York artists to you. So please stick around, and we will see you then. Bye for now.